Hey, fourth graders. I am checking in with you today to review a lesson. So we're just gonna make sure you're solid on it and ready for fifth grade. That lesson is how to do a long division equation. And we're gonna try it 3 different ways. I'm gonna model it for you. And then after I've modeled it, you watched a video, you're gonna have an assignment that you can do, and your job is gonna be to show that you can do it at least 2 different ways. There will be more specific instructions on the assignment for you. And of course, you can go back through the video and pause and follow along, going through the process one step at a time. Okay, let's get started. Let's first start with discussing what skills should you know by the time you master long division. The student will be able to represent the quotient of up to a 4-digit whole number divided by a 1-digit whole number using arrays, area models, also called box method, or equations. In addition to being able to represent the number, the student will be able to use strategies such as a partial quotient method and algorithms, including the standard algorithm, which is called the traditional method, to divide up to a 4-digit dividend by a 1-digit divisor. And the student will be able to solve with fluency, also known as mastery, 1- and 2-step problems involving multiplication and division, including interpreting, which means you can understand and explain remainders. If you take a look at this pictorial model, this is a model of this equation. 16 is equal to 3 times 5 plus 1, and 1 being that remainder. In other words, you can divide 16 by 3 and get 5 groups with a remainder of 1. Okay, so real quickly, I'm just going to explain to you what they mean by you should be able to represent the quotient. In other words, if it's written in a linear format like that, meaning horizontally, you'll know how to take this number and set it up this way with the little house, as we called it in class. So 36 divided by 4 will be written with 4 as your divisor and 36 as your dividend. And this, of course, is your answer area waiting for you to solve for the quotient. If you had 3,769 divided by 2, again, you would set it up with 2 as your divisor and then 3,769 as your dividend. And again, this area as your quotient, which is your answer area. Same for these two. Just take a quick look at that and think about, can you go from seeing an equation written that way and setting it up this way so that you can solve it successfully? Okay, now we're gonna move on to the stuff that a 4th grader really should know. These are examples of those 4, and I just wanted you to see those quickly as they are worked out. And then that way, if you have to go back and look at something that's completed and see them all 4 different size of problems solved, you'll have that to refer to later. Okay, let's start with the traditional method, also known as the standard algorithm. We're going to take this equation, 3,769 divided by 2, and we're going to set it up. Our divisor is the number 2. Our dividend is 3,769. And I'm turning the paper this way to help those people who have a problem with organization so that they can write down those lines as columns. 2 will go into 3. 2 divided into 3 will go 1 time. 1 times 2 is 2. 3 minus 2 is 1. Now we can't go any higher because we would have been too big. So then we bring down the 7. That gives us 17. So 2 divided into 17 will go 2 times 8 is 16. So 8 times 2, we write that 16 here, and then we subtract. We're left with 1. Bring down my 6. That's 16. 2 will go into 16. We already know because that's 8 times 2 is 16.
16 minus 16 is, of course, 0. We have another number. Don't forget that all these numbers have to have something above them. 9 brought down. 2 will go into 9. 4 times 2 is 8. 9 minus 8 is 1. And what is that called? Everybody should remember that's a remainder. And we're going to leave our remainder down there for now. We're going to put our answer over here because all division has to be checked with what? Multiplication. So we're going to take our quotient, which is 1,884, and we're going to multiply by our divisor, which is 2. That's 2 times 4 is 8. 2 times 8 is 16, carry my 1. 2 times 8 again is 16 plus that 1 is 17, carry my 1. 2 times 1 is 2, plus that 1 is 3. That's 3,768, but don't forget the remainder. We got to add it in. That's plus 1. 8 plus 1 is 9, 6, 7, 3. Our final answer, our product, is 3,769. It matches our dividend, so we know we're correct. Now we're going to do the carry, or sometimes called the crossover method. It's very much like your setup for the traditional method. Our equation is 5,768 divided by 6. So our divisor is the number 6. Our dividend is 5,000. And notice something. I'm going to leave a little space after these digits. So it's going to be 5,768. So it looks a lot like the traditional method, but it makes it a little easier for some people to keep up with the steps. And we go one box at a time. 6 will go into 5. No time, not any number of times, because 5 is too small. You can't get a group of 6, so you have to put a 0 up there. Don't forget your little reminder there. So that means you're going to have to take these two numbers to work with. So you're just going to move this over. That becomes a 5. So I can get rid of that one. 6 will go into 57. How many times? Well, there's some of you still struggling with your 6s. So remember, start with what you do know and list your multiplication facts. So we'll start with 5. Most of you know up to your 5. 6 times 5 equals 30. Got some more to go. 6 times 6 equals 36. 6 times 7 equals 42. You're just adding 6 each time. 6 times 8 equals 48. 6 times 9 equals 54. And of course, if you said 6 times 10, you would have 60, and that would be too big for 57. So you know you can stop right there, and there's your 9. 9 times 6, answer's on the paper, 54. So now you subtract, and you're left with 3. Got some more work to do, so you're going to carry this over, and there's your 36. So you can look at your 6s again, and you can find that 6 times 6 will 6 will go into 36 6 times. So you multiply 6 times 6, and you have 36. You subtract, and there's a 0. You can even carry that over there if you want to. So 6 will go into 8. How many times? Well, we all know 6 will go into 8 only one time. And that will give me 6 times 1. Subtract my 6 from 8. I have a remainder of the number 2, because 8 minus 6 is 2. And my quotient is 961. And remember, we're not finished until we check it. So 961 times my Divisor is, which is 6. So 6 times 1 is 6. 6 times 6 is 36. Carry my 3. 6 times 9 is 54. Plus 3 is 57. So I'm left with 5,766. But my original dividend was 5,768. Oh, that remainder. Plus 2. 6 plus 2 is 8. 6, 7, 5, and wow, it matches my original, my product, and I'm correct. Okay, so the last one, the partial quotient method. This one seems to help those people who have a little bit of a problem with the division part. When you set it up, it looks a lot like the old one, except you're going to add an extra line. Sometimes we call it the hangman method. So you're going to actually be looking at the place value in which the digit is sitting to help you solve this problem. 9,875 divided by 5 is going to be written with 5 as the divisor, and then 9,875. And you're going to start with the first digit. It's in the thousands place. Its worth, its value is 9,000. You know that if you multiply 5 times 1,000, you'll come close and you won't go over. And this, you even get to play around with the numbers as comfortable as you are with it. But we'll start with 1,000. So 5 times 1,000 is 5,000. We multiply that. We have nice round numbers to work with. 5 minus 0, 7 minus 0, 8 minus 0. Easy, right? 9 minus 5 is 4. So now we got 4,875 or 4,875. Well, 5 won't go into 4,100 times. 1,000 times. It'll be too big. So we look at this number, 48. 5 times 4 to get me close to 48. 9. So we put 9 right here. We have 2 numbers left over, so we put 2 zeros. And we go 5 times 9 is 45. Line your numbers up. Don't ever forget that. We got 45 and we got 2 zeros over here, so we put 2 zeros right there. And we subtract. 5 minus 0 is 5, 7. 8 minus 5 is 3. Now we're down to 300. That was fast. So we look at 5 going into 375. Well, let's look at 37. 5 times what to get me close to 37? 7. Make sure you line numbers up over here too, because we're going to do something with them later. So 5 times 7, well, there's a digit right here missing, so we need a 0 for that. And we go 5 times 7 is 35. Line them up. Don't forget this 0. That's 5 minus 0 is 5. 7 minus 5 is 2. We're left with 25, and everybody knows that 5 times 5 is 25. We put our multiplication answer down there. We got 0, no remainder. So no remainder. We add this up to get, because this is partial quotient. These are all partial. We got to add them up to get the whole thing. That's 5, that's 7, that's 9, that's 1. Now, we got to check it. This is our quotient. We multiply it by 5. 5 times 5 is 25. Carry my 2. 5 times 7 is 35 plus 2 is 37. Carry my 3. 5 times 9 is 45 plus 3 is 48. Carry my 4. 5 times 1 is 5 plus 4 is 9. 9,875 looks just like this one. Checks out good. And this is my quotient. Don't forget, all you gotta do is practice with your homework. I'm looking forward to seeing it. I know you're gonna do great. Thank you. Have a good one.